friends. This is Tales of the Swamp. Tonight we continue with The Beast of Beau Bayou. Please stay tuned to the end. I will announce a very special surprise. And if you are enjoying this channel, please subscribe. My subscribers are very low, and it would be really nice to see it climb. Without anything else, let's get started with the story. Part 2, Shadow of the Bear. The doorknob turned slowly, deliberately. I stood frozen in the middle of my cabin, the shotgun pressed against my shoulder, every muscle in my body locked tight. Outside, the lantern hanging beside the front steps swayed gently in the night breeze. Its pale glow stretched long shadows across the porch. Two shadows, one impossibly large, the other wrong. Scratching came again, not from claws, fingernails. Tap, tap, tap against the weathered wood of the front door. Then silence. The voice returned, soft and trembling. It was calling my name. I nearly dropped the shotgun. It was my mother's voice. She'd been dead for 12 years. "No," I whispered. The voice came again. Sounded frightening. "Please, open the door. Something's wrong." Every hair on my body stood on end. The old Cajuns around the basin had always warned about answering voices in the swamp after dark. The swamp remembered things. Sometimes it gave them back, but they never came back right. I stepped closer to the door. The shotgun barrel shook in my hands. Then another voice joined the first. This one belonged to my father. "Son, let us in." I stumbled backward. The thing outside wasn't human. It was fishing through memories, trying on familiar voices like masks. Fingernails scratched harder. Then came the sound of something heavy breathing. The bear. I could hear its lungs working just beyond the porch. A wet growl vibrated through the floorboards. And then, bang! Something slammed against the front wall, hard enough to shake the cabin. Dust rained from the ceiling. Another hit. Bang! The lantern crashed to the porch and exploded. Darkness swallowed everything. Scratching stopped. The voices stopped. Only silence remained. Then came the sound I feared most. Footsteps. Inside the cabin. I swung the shotgun toward the hallway leading to the back room. Footsteps moved slowly across old wooden planks. Impossible. No one had entered. I had locked every door. I aimed into the darkness. The footsteps stopped. My finger tightened on the trigger. A shape emerged. Tall, thin. I fired. The blast exploded through the cabin. The figure vanished. Silence. Smoke drifted through the room. I grabbed my flashlight, sweeping the beam across the hallway. Nothing. No blood, no body. Only shattered picture frames lying on the floor. Then I heard splashing outside. I rushed to the rear window. The bear stood waist deep in the black water beneath the cabin. Moonlight revealed its scarred body. The rusted chain around its neck dangled heavily from matted fur. It wasn't looking at me. It was staring into the swamp behind my cabin. Its ears flattened. It growled low, afraid. Realization hit me like ice water. The beast of Beau Bayou wasn't hunting. It was warning me. Something moved among the cypress trees. At first, I thought they were branches swaying. Then, one stepped forward. A man. or what had once been one. His clothes hung in rotted strips. His skin was gray and waterlogged. His eyes reflected white in the moonlight. Another emerged beside him, then another. Dozens. They shuffled through the shallow water in absolute silence. Men, women, children, all staring toward my cabin, toward me. The black bear backed away, whining. The same creature that had overturned boats and dragged screaming victims beneath the water was retreating, terrified. One of the figures stepped closer beneath the moonlight. I recognized her immediately, the tourist woman who had disappeared in Beau Bayou. Water dripped from her tangled hair, her head tilted unnaturally. Then she smiled. "Please," she whispered, "help us." The others spoke together, their voices layered into one impossible sound. "Come outside." The cabin shook violently. A stilt beneath the floor cracked. The dead pressed closer through the water. The bear reared. Not at me, at them. It charged. The enormous black shape exploded through the shadows and crashed into the first row of drowned figures. Bodies scattered. Water erupted skyward. The dead clawed at its fur. The beast tore through them with savage fury. For several horrifying seconds, hunter and nightmare collided beneath my cabin. Then the figures overwhelmed it. They climbed over its back, wrapped pale hands around its neck, dragged it down, screaming beneath the dark water. The swamp became still. The dead turned toward me, every face lifted, every mouth opened. It called my name as one. The floor dropped beneath my feet. One of the broken stilts finally gave way. The cabin lurched sideways. I crashed into the wall as black water flooded through the rear door. The flashlight disappeared beneath the rising water. Outside, pale hands gripped the porch rails. The front door burst inward, and standing in the doorway, dripping swamp water onto the floorboards, was the black bear. Its fur hung in wet clumps. Its scarred chest rose and fell, but something had changed. The pale, clouded eye was gone. Both eyes stared at me now, clear, human. Then, in a rough voice that sounded as though it hadn't been used in decades, the beast spoke. "You need to run," it said. Before I could move, something enormous rose behind it from the flooded darkness. Something far larger than any bear. And when it opened its eyes beneath the ruined cabin, they glowed like lanterns, burning deep beneath the waters of Beau Bayou. So that's the end of part 2. And the surprise I was telling you guys about is I'm going to go ahead and continue with part 3. So again, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And with that said, I'll go ahead and continue with The Beast of Beau Bayou, part 3. The Guardian of Beau Bayou. The eyes beneath the cabin opened wider. 2 glowing amber lanterns burned beneath the black waters of Beau Bayou. The cabin groaned around me. Floorboards split. Water surged through the broken stilts as the dead pressed against the walls, whispering my name in voices stolen from people I loved and lost. The black bear stood in the doorway. Water dripped from its scarred fur. Those human eyes locked onto mine. "You have to trust me," it said. His voice sounded like gravel dragged across old wood. "I don't have much time." I should have been terrified. I should have run. But there was something in those eyes that stopped me. sadness, regret, humanity. The thing beneath the cabin moved, massive. The entire structure shifted as enormous shadows passed beneath the floor. Then the drowned figures outside suddenly froze. Every head turned toward the dark water below. Fear crossed their pale faces. The bear lowered its head. "It found us." "What found us?" I whispered. The bear looked toward the rising water. "The one that calls." The floor exploded upward. Ancient boards erupted into splinters as something emerged from beneath the cabin. It wasn't flesh. It wasn't spirit. It was both. Its body resembled a towering figure draped in swamp moss and cypress roots. Water poured endlessly from the hollow spaces beneath its tattered cloak. Its arms were impossibly long, ending in fingers like twisted branches. Its face, well, there wasn't one, only darkness. And within that darkness floated hundreds of softly glowing eyes. Each eye blinked independently. Each held the reflection of someone who had vanished in the Atchafalaya Basin. The husband who disappeared checking his trot lines, the missing tourists, children, hunters, fishermen, every soul Beau Bayou had claimed. The drowned, dead, outside, fell to their knees. The creature's voice rolled across the swamp like distant thunder. "He is mine!" The sound shook my bones. The bear stepped between me and the ancient thing. "No," it growled. "You've taken enough." The creature turned its countless eyes toward the bear. "You broke the covenant." For a moment the bear said nothing. Then it looked back at me. "I wasn't always this." The dead remained silent as the bear spoke. "Long ago, before roads crossed the basin, and before tourists filled these waters, my name was Etienne Boudreaux." The name hung in the damp air. "I trapped these bayous, guided lost travelers home. I respected the swamp." His voice cracked. "But grief changes men." His wife and daughter had disappeared during a hurricane. Desperate to find them, Etienne sought out an old healer deep within the basin. A woman whispered to possess powers older than the first Cajun settlers. She warned him. There were places in the swamp where the boundary between the living and the dead grew thin. Places where ancient spirits listened. Places where bargains came with terrible prices. But grief had deafened him. Etienne made the bargain. He offered years from his own life in exchange for one chance to see his family again. Instead, he awakened the caller of Beau Bayou. The ancient spirit had granted his wish in twisted fashion. It gave him the ability to find the lost, but it transformed him into its guardian, half man, half beast, bound to protect the bayou while the caller fed upon wandering souls. "I've spent decades trying to undo what I unleashed," Etienne said softly. "The attacks, the tourists." His head lowered. "I drove them away." He looked toward the dead. "I terrified them because I knew what waited if they stayed." Tears filled my eyes as understanding settled over me. The monster everyone feared had never been the true evil. He had been standing guard, alone, for generations. Caller stretched its enormous limbs. The swamp water churned violently. "You failed," it thundered. "The debt remains." The dead rose once more. Hundreds of pale faces turned toward me. The spirit pointed one branch-like finger. "Give him to me." Each hand bared enormous yellow teeth. "No!" The swamp exploded into chaos. The drowned surged forward. Each hand charged. He crashed into them with a roar that echoed through the cypress trees. The caller descended. Roots erupted from the earth. Water spun into towering columns. The dead clawed and shrieked as man, beast, and spirit collided beneath the moonlight. I stumbled toward my overturned shotgun. A memory surfaced. Something my grandfather once told me as a child. The basin remembers kindness as much as cruelty. I grabbed the small silver crucifix hanging around my neck. It had belonged to my mother. I had worn it every day since her death. The dead reached for me. I raised the crucifix. "I don't belong to you," I shouted. Silver blazed with brilliant light. The caller recoiled. For the first time, the ancient spirit screamed. Each hand saw his chance. With one final roar, he launched himself onto the caller's back. "No!" he shouted. I drove the crucifix into the dark void where its face should have been. Light erupted across Beau Bayou. The cypress trees shook. The waters rose. The voices of the dead filled the night. Then, silence. The light faded. The drowned were gone. The storm vanished. Moonlight once again reflected peacefully across the bayou. I collapsed onto the muddy bank, exhausted, alone. The only sound was the distant croaking of the frogs returning to the night. Then I heard footsteps. Each hand stood beside me. The black bear, his fur, had disappeared. An elderly Cajun man now stood where the beast had been. Weathered hands, kind eyes, the scars of a hard life etched across his face. "Did we stop it?" I asked. He stared into the dark waters. "For now." He smiled sadly. "The swamp doesn't forget." As dawn painted the horizon gold, Ichan tipped an imaginary hat. "Take care of Beau Bayou." Then he stepped into the mist drifting between the cypress trees and vanished. Years have passed since that night. People still fish Beau Bayou. Tourists paddle beneath the moss-covered oaks. Children laugh from houseboats tidal on the banks. Life returned. The stories faded. Most call them legends. They say the beast of Beau Bayou was just an unusually aggressive black bear, nothing more. Sometimes I wish they were right. But every now and then, when the fog settles low over the Atchafalaya and the swamp grows unnaturally quiet, fishermen claim they see a massive black bear standing alongside the shoreline, watching, protecting, its scarred face turned toward the deeper waters, as if guarding everyone from something hidden beneath the surface. And if you listen closely on those moonlit nights, you hear an old Cajun warning carried on the wind. If the bear tells you to leave Beau Bayou, don't ask questions. Because somewhere deep beneath the black waters of the Atchafalaya Basin, where sunlight has never touched and ancient roots twist through forgotten graves, two amber eyes sometimes open, and a voice soft as a mother's whisper drifts through the cypress trees. I'm still hungry. And friends, that's the conclusion of The Beast of Beau Bayou. Hope you enjoyed the story as much as I enjoyed telling it. Please don't forget to subscribe and stand by for my next upload next Thursday. Please hit that like button and thumbs up and leave me a comment. Tell me what you enjoyed most about the story. Have a good evening and God bless.